any questions, I would be happy to answer.
Where did you come up with the writing? Was that specific things that you wrote, or did you just read things that you wanted to sort of
Those are all excerpts from Kanye
from Kanye West?
and what Mama's doing.
For me, it was very unexpected because I it was Kanye. And I thought it was very funny when he handed out these like pretty little doilies with this like really crass writing on it. I thought it was very funny, and the dance to me didn't seem extremely hilarious. So it was unexpected.
I thought it felt really honest. It just felt really genuine. And I enjoyed the sounds the paper made. That was really nice.
Well, the paper that was my original idea when I've shown it to friends. Suggestions were made that they be more actually precious, like real doilies embroidered. So I thought, well, that would be beautiful, but it would take away from the sound too. So I'm kind of debating. I would be into beauty. I think that's part of it is taking the time, the mark making, the calligraphy. That's part of the intention.
Pause for 1 second. I'm interested to know what is your relationship to Kanye West, and also why the title is what it is.
Well, I mean, I don't know Kanye West, but I think we all have our impressions of him. This piece started, I remember my daughter and I were watching Saturday Night Live, and he was on there, and he was singing his power song. And after it was over, I said, well, I didn't say anything, but I felt, wow, I'm kind of irritated by that. But she said, that's cool. And, I mean, we're very close, but I have other baggage, being a woman who grew up in the South and grew up in segregated schools. So it just made me start thinking, and the more I thought about it, I thought, well, that is cool. And so I have this, in my process as an artist, I do become fascinated with other artists, and I can get obsessed. And so I kind of got obsessed with Kanye West. And so I started just really listening to his music, his lyrics, and investigating what it is that irritated me about it, And in my lifetime, what has evolved in terms of the racial tension that I have lived through, and still witness, but have seen so much evolve from that. It's just incredible. So that's kind of what I'm trying to put out there, but I don't really know what to do with this piece. Someone has suggested I should continue it, and I don't know if I should just make it bigger, how I should do that, if I should, if it really is my statement to make as an individual, or if it's more of a community thing. So those are some questions.
Well, I have a personal relationship, obviously, with my mom. And the thing that I see as a person close to her in this piece is that she's probably the most opposite of Kanye West that exists. And for her to go through this fascination with him, I think is examining something deeply that she is not. I think specifically his attitude and this like cockiness and this, you know, like he says, like, I'm never going to be too big for my britches, or, you know, all these things. And I think that kind of boils down for me even to the little doilies, the crassness on the pretty thing. I think combining my mom with Kanye West is two completely different worlds finding a place to be together. That's what I see in this piece.
I didn't even read race at all. I mean, maybe I grew up in Michigan in the 80s, so it's a different kind of racial background. But I read it more as like a kind of battle of genders more, and like I read the piece as more of female undercutting, because his music is fun, but he wrote a song about how women should be thin. Like, there's some things that are irritating about him that have nothing to do with his race or his money. So I kind of I read it more as like a twist of it, like taking some of that brashness and applying it in a more female way, I guess. But I didn't read the race politics of it at all.
That's just part of it.
Yeah.
There was sort of really interesting visual contrast between your upper body and the kind of sinewy power that I kept seeing through this, forms and hoop skirt underneath. And so there was an interesting, just visually, it looked like this kind of, I kept having the thoughts of something ecstatic coming through. And then that underneath, so there was sort of this grounded ecstaticness. But it made me wonder what other kind of movement might be happening, because that theme was so strong, but then I sort of thought, I had a question, where else could it come?
I liked the hoop skirt as kind of southern connotation, like a southern belle thing, and the transition where you kind of emerged out of it, I thought was interesting. I think you might find it interesting, and we might find it interesting to watch you struggle a bit more with what does irritate you about him. And then maybe what you might think now you find cool about him. And because I didn't see that difference so much in what I saw today. So I think that might be something interesting to do.
I'm wondering, I wonder, you don't have to have an answer, but what are you trying to do? Because, that is kind of everything. Are you trying to make a political, racial analysis? Are you trying to walk in Kanye West's shoes? Are you trying, whatever it is, because it's pretty deep what you're wading into, and it's not to be taken light. I'm not saying that you're taking it lightly, but there's a lot of issues of appropriation and cultural reference and things. And so I just didn't, when I was watching it, I was I could extract a lot of things from it. I could make a lot of assumptions, and I don't even want to tell you what I want to see, because that's not important. But I think it will become more clear as the research is really good. That's I think that's important. But then just trying to distill out of that what it is you're actually trying to do. Because right now it seems like a meditation, but with some really specific practical set elements that are really pretty, but I don't know what purpose they serve yet. Time for one more.
I don't know. I guess I love Kanye West, and I think his lyrics and his work is really deep, profound. It's really urban, so there was definitely that contrast. If you know who Kanye West is, and I think a lot of people do, you bring that to the performance. So he's there in the room in some ways, whether, he is or not, on some level. And so the issues of race for me were really out there in maybe an implicit way, and I guess there's a part of me that wish it was a little bit more explicit, because to be a white woman with Kanye West's lyrics, which are engaging with issues of race, whether you recognize that or not, and just all of the kind of structural racism in our society, just seems like it is really loaded. And then I guess I just think those are interesting things, like, to kind of engage with maybe more explicitly. And then I guess also I think it's really interesting, like, to do so. Those kinds of contrasts between, like, the southern, the doily and the decorative and the feminine and the whiteness. To me, that is all part of the piece. And the issues when you just bring up Kanye West and have his lyrics, that comes with it. But I'm not sure, but I didn't think the music was Kanye West, and so I was wishing that it was, because I felt like, to me, that, like, having the lyrics and then I just felt like that could have been an even more kind of explicit contrast to have his music or his voice or in the room. So I was kind of thinking that was going to happen, and it didn't happen, and maybe that's too, like, hitting you on the head with him or something, but.
The sound was all Kanye West.
It was.
But it was all just kind of pushed together.
Crumpled.
Did you, person who isn't sitting in the circle, want to say something so you can sit in the circle? And I saw your hands up, so.
Yes, I thought it was really interesting to me when you lifted the, I guess I could call it a skirt, when you lifted it, and I saw the question of, to what extent can you make yourself disappear? And I thought that was really interesting. That's it.
Well, I would have loved it if you popped out of the hoot skirt and suddenly you were Kanye West. I mean, not like actually him, but like maybe all of a sudden you embody him. You just got like dipped into Kanye West and you're his personality now.